Welcome back to another leg on our race around the world here at the Pitstop Pals, part of the Reality Realm Network. My name is Kevin Oliver, and
And my name is Bruce Heller. This was a fun episode.
episode number 9 of season 7 of The Amazing Race, coming at you with a title of "We Got a Gnome, We Got a Gnome." Who said it, Bruce?
It was Joyce. I wrote it down when she said it this time.
It was. It was another very subtle one, though.
Yeah. Kev, I have a question before we really dive in.
Yeah,
Well, because you watched this morning, I watched last night. I texted
yeah.
you while I was watching something along the lines of "You're in for a wild Ron and Kelly scene, or quite the Ron and Kelly." Do you know what scene I was referencing with that?
Yes, and I have things to say about it when we get there.
That was might be the most unhinged quote I've ever heard on reality television.
That's more than unhinged. It made me so mad.
It's so bad. It's so
I
bad.
don't even care. Hot take, I don't know. Kelly is my, I'm going to say, least favorite person on this season, worse than Patrick.
That was so bad.
I,
Well,
I'm not,
oh gosh.
and like I said, we'll get into it when we get there, but I'm stamping my flag right there. Kelly is my least favorite person on the season. Maybe my least favorite person that we've recapped in general.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a terrible quote there from her.
Yep, it was. But getting into the episode, we see Joyce and Uchenna, who started the leg, or who finished the last leg in first, starting the leg at almost midnight, where they open their clue and find out that we have to fly to Istanbul, Turkey, and then travel by train to a dock where they get on a ferry to Kizkulesi to get their next clue.
Yes.
I just realized we forgot something.
You forgot to give me money.
For what?
I don't know. I just wanted to see if you believe me or not.
I definitely don't believe you.
That's
We
fair. You shouldn't.
we we forgot quotes. Bruce, do you have any quotes?
Uh-huh. I
Let's
do.
hear them. Let's
Okay.
hear them.
I'm so over India. What are we gonna call him? Jerome the Gnome. You're a big man, and I need someone big.
And most of those quotes came from Meredith and Gretchen.
Or just Gretchen. The last two are Gretchen.
The one before it's Meredith. That's why I said Meredith and Gretchen.
No, you're a big man was her too.
I know I'm talking about Jerome the Gnome,
Oh, I guess you're right.
but I don't know who the first one was.
I'm so over India with Rob.
Ah, okay. So I got some here. Not all of them are funny like the first one. Uchenna or Joyce was telling us that their motto on the race has been to let go and let God, and I just wanted to highlight that because I thought that
Yeah,
was really cool.
I love that.
Um, and then once again, not all of them are funny. This is more of a strategy talk. We have two teams working together is not always better than one team. I guess that was what Rob said. I guess that's valid depending on who your other team is. Um, Makes me think about like Joyce and Uchenna were talking about how they work with Meredith and Gretchen on the throughout the whole race, and I actually wrote down that I thought that well,
Uh-oh. He's frozen.
I'm frozen.
Oh, no, you're not anymore. You were for a few seconds.
Did you hear everything I said?
No.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard?
What was the last thing you said?
I was talking about Meredith and Gretchen and Joyce and Uchenna.
Okay, keep going.
So I was saying that Joyce and Uchenna working with Meredith and Gretchen, I think is smart because if they find themselves in the back of the pack, they're never going to have to worry about who's going to win in the foot race.
Yeah.
But if you're Rob and Amber and Ron and Kelly, it probably does help you to not necessarily work as closely together.
Yeah.
I also got Ron saying we're going to Istanbul, Constantinople, which made me think of the song and it made me think of Just Dance
Nice.
and how uh, Tanner and Kendra used to go at it to that song
Nice.
in the stew at CCTB. Um, Also, emergent gameplay here. Once again, not funny, but quote, did you get on the earlier flight to Turkey believing there was no such thing and
Yeah.
getting uh dually trying to see if there was information to get as well as trying to scare the other teams, which worked in both of those situations.
Yeah, but that backfired him on him also because they found an earlier flight that he
It
didn't find.
it
So
did it did backfire, but I mean, at the time, he gained information that they did not know about an earlier flight. Plus, he scared them. So,
yeah,
I mean, the he just didn't take into account that they'd be able to find a flight that he wouldn't be able to find because he's Rob and he thinks that he can do everything.
uh-huh.
Um, but that's what it is. Okay, now the unhinged quote that makes me hate Kelly so much.
Gosh.
By being a POW, you left your commitment to the army early.
Yeah, that this whole scene is just awful because she's saying you never follow through on your commitments or something like that. And he said he made a commitment to the military. And she goes, "Oh, yeah, but you found a way to get out of that." And he said, "How?" And she said, "By being a POW." And his face was shocked, as I think we all were. I'd like to think she very quick. I'd like to think at some point she realized how awful this sounds because that's not a defensible position.
It's so bad. Like, dude literally risks his life for the country, almost dies being a prisoner of war. And you're going to sit over here and tell us that was his way of getting out of the army early.
I think at that point it's just you're arguing and you're trying to find anything you can to use as
That's
a.
not excusable.
No, I'm not excusing it. I'm just trying to figure out where it came from.
It came from the same place, but an even darker place of you're a piece of trash redneck. She
Yeah.
is literally just finding anything she can to make him look bad
Yeah.
because she realizes that once the race is over, they're going to break up,
Yeah, they're not a healthy couple at all.
which goes back to my concern at the beginning of the season of we're going on the race to see if this relationship is real.
And it's not.
It's not, but that is the race is also a terrible litmus test to
Yeah.
the longevity and healthiness of a relationship.
Dude, on our last rewatch, we kind of we had some concerns with how much Brooke and Robbie were bickering a lot in the early episodes, and they were never as bad of bickering and arguing as these two are. Like this
Well,
is a
yeah,
whole other level.
oh, that was I literally wrote down Kelly, you are trash.
It's so bad.
Like she might as well have flipped off of America in that moment.
Yeah. I got nothing to say other than that it's terrible, and I hope she realized how it sounded really quickly.
I sure hope so. Um, I got from Rob. You think at 65 or 70 they would know more, but they don't. Talking about how he thinks Gretchen and Meredith are stupid.
Yeah, well, the scene of them looking for the clue at the tower doesn't exactly help their case.
Kelly and Ron did the same thing.
I know they're bad too. Two different teams went up the tower, came back down, and went back up it a second time when the
Well,
clue
no,
was at the bottom of
Kelly
it.
and Ron didn't go a second time.
Oh, well, Meredith and Gretchen went back up a second time.
They did.
And like I don't love like the cockiness from Rob where he's calling other people dumb. But when we're like Meredith and Gretchen don't help their case with a lot of these scenes. Like they're not dumb, but they appear to be
They're
sometimes.
senile.
So it's that tower through
Yeah.
seems through a loop.
Amber also calls Uchenna a leech for information at this point. And then they go on a Uchenna bash, which I did not enjoy, but
Yeah, I didn't love that.
and then we see Uchenna and Joyce and Gretchen Meredith walking through the airport and say, as long as we're on, or Gretchen says, as long as we don't see the red cap up here, we will be fine. Which is valid when you're Gretchen and Meredith, who are always at the back of the pack, don't get that many options to be in the front.
Yeah.
I don't want. And then I got Jerome the Gnome, just like you. Gretchen says, "Why don't we see things?" Which is true. I have a big LOL here by Kelly saying, "We're in second place right now. Let's go," not knowing that they are in last.
Yeah.
By a by a generous amount of time, if we're being honest.
I also would like to point out that Gretchen is no longer adorable to me. I'm kind
Yeah.
of over it at this point. The the elephant soured me a lot, but like last episode and this episode, I'm realizing how much she uses the word God in a sense that I prefer it not be used, and it's starting to annoy me.
That's fair.
It's like every scene with her. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just kind of over Gretchen. Meredith is still adorable though.
Man. And um if this isn't the incarnation of the quote, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
Because
well, she did become the villain. At the elephant, she became the villain to me.
so Bruce wishes that Meredith and Gretchen went home 2 weeks ago. Gotcha.
No, just Meredith. No, just
You
her.
want Meredith? Really? You want Gretchen to run this race alone? I see.
I kind of do want to watch that actually. That sounds like good, entertaining television. Send her alone to do the column things that only one can do.
Also, Rob, yeah, and we'll get there too. Don't worry, I have thoughts. Um, Rob doesn't know what a gnome is.
I missed
That's
that.
kind of crazy to me. He literally said like 3 times, "What is a gnome? What is a
Oh.
gnome?" And
It's
Amber
the
keeps
little
saying,
short guy
"I
with
think
the
it's this
pointy hat
little
and the beard.
statue. I want one so bad." Um, she keeps saying, "I think it's a little statue. I think it's a little statue. What's a gnome? I think it's a little statue." Over like 3 times, that same conversation happened.
It is a
He
little
was,
statue.
it is. But the fact that he didn't know what a gnome was is crazy to me. But also, Travelocity gnomes are a big part of the Amazing Race. So I've always been like aware and stuff of the gnome. Um, we want grande people. Do they not realize that they're not in a Spanish speaking country?
Who was that?
That would be Gretchen.
Of course it was. And no, she doesn't. I don't think she knows where she is. To be fair, I'm trying to think. What language do they speak in Turkey? Because I don't know off the top of my head either. To be fair to Gretchen,
Turkish. They speak Turkish.
did you know that? You're doing the big arms like I was stupid, but you took enough time that I feel like you were looking that up.
Well, I did Google it, but I was aware of Turkish language.
I don't know why, but my guess was Portuguese. I was close.
Turkish is the mother tongue of 90% of the population of the country.
Nice.
Some 70 other languages and dialects also spoken, including various dialects of Caucasian. I did not know that was a language, but okay. And Kurdish, as well as Arabic, Greek, Ladino, and Armenian. Um, it's definitely not Spanish, though. Yeah,
Huh.
but
Nice.
evidently we need grande people.
Also, I love that we're going to Turkey in the episode after Thanksgiving, after we just had Thanksgiving in real life.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic in a completely coincidental way. Um, Also, Ron says that he's going to play the game by himself from now on, which sometimes I feel like he is. So
Yeah. They have a toxic relationship at this point. I thought they
Ron also
fixed it a few episodes ago,
what?
and now it's back again. What?
I can't. I didn't get that. What'd you say?
I said at this point they just have a toxic relationship. I thought they were just having a bad episode a few weeks ago, and I thought they fixed it, and now it's back again. So,
Yeah, ain't nobody can doubt that one. And as Gretchen is climbing the ladder, a 66-year-old lady shouldn't be doing things like this, but you are. And my last quote was from Kelly. Hopefully, they dropped their gnome somewhere in reference to Rob and Amber.
yeah.
All of that to be said, now we can go back to what we were starting to do, which was to genuinely recap this episode. I just want to say though, as we start, that Joy looks absolutely BA with the bald head.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I'm loving it. Um, and Kelly and Ron are getting feisty. From start to finish, they were kind of arguing.
Yeah. Also, early in the episode, we learned that, like, before they leave India, Sanju is still helping Rob and Amber and Ron and Kelly.
Yeah, up
They're an
until
entire
they get
leg
their
of the
tickets.
race. Doesn't he have a job he needs to be at? They found him working somewhere.
He's the hotel manager,
Well, who's managing the hotel while you're off running around doing
not
the races?
Sanjay.
Good for Sanju, though. I'm just like, wow, you're still here. That's insane.
Yeah.
And he did it for free.
Yeah.
Just
It,
want to
it was
point that out again.
it was a great deal for Robin Ember and Ron and Kelly. So basically, everybody gets this same flight headed to Turkey. That is going to leave at 10:20 a.m. and arrive in Turkey the next day at 8:45 a.m. With a stop in Delhi along the way. Not Delhi, not Ratchers or any of your Delhi places, Bruce. In in Delhi, India.
New Delhi.
Yes, not the old Delhi.
No.
But here I did make a comment in my notes that I did think I just wanted to double down that I did believe this was going to be a non-elimination leg based on where we were in episode count, and team number and things like that. But like you said, when Rob asked, "Did you get on the early flight to Turkey?" it backfired because this causes Uchenna to get on a cell phone and call the travel agent in New Delhi and find out if there is a way to get on a different flight that would arrive to or no, they weren't through Delhi. They were in Dubai. That's where their connection was. Everybody's the 10:20 to 8:45.
Yeah.
Um. But anyway, so Uchenna calls and finds out that there is another flight that goes from Dubai to New Delhi over to Istanbul that would arrive 2 hours earlier. And so Uchenna says that when he gets to his connection, they will try to they will try to do that. And I'm sorry, I'm backwards again. I just looked at my notes. It was New Delhi. Dubai was the second connection on Joyce and Uchenna and Meredith and Gretchen's flight. Either way, Meredith and Gretchen and Joyce and Uchenna get on a 2 hour lead, basically, by getting on this flight that leaves New Delhi at 8 p.m., Dubai at 3:30 a.m., and arrives in Istanbul at 6:20 in the morning instead of the 8:45 that Robin, Amber, and Ron and Kelly are on. And so they do that, and surprise, surprise, Robin, Amber, and Ron and Kelly think that they just missed the flight and that they're going to be way ahead. And we see that storyline play out through like half the episode. But everybody gets their just a second. I need to look at something. Okay. Anyway, everybody gets there and everybody gets on their trains. Ron and Kelly actually missed the train, and so Rob and Amber have a lead over them, which puts Ron and Kelly in last. But when they get to Kiskulesi, they have to search the island for a gnome, a Travelocity gnome, which we've been talking about some. And the difference between a regular Travelocity gnome and these Travelocity gnomes is that on the bottom of each gnome, there's a picture of a different form of transportation. And they had to carry this gnome throughout the whole race, all the way to the end. And whoever had the gnome with an airplane on the bottom was going to win a prize from Travelocity. But which we find out at the end who got that. But that's what they have to do right now. And once they find their gnome, they get their next clue, which says that they have to travel 12 miles to Galata Kalesi Tower.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts from this scene looking for gnomes, Bruce?
When we found out about the prize thing on the bottom of the gnome, my mind went to, I think it'd be really funny if the last place team gets the prize for whatever reason.
It would be. And it was.
And I like this challenge of just having to walk around a large area looking for something small. So that's fun.
Yeah, but it didn't really seem to be that much a problem for any of them. Even Gretchen and Meredith, who can't find anything to save their lives, found that gnome fairly fast.
Yeah.
But I wrote down here that I can't wait for Rob to find out that he's not in first because he hadn't got to the gnome thing yet.
Yeah.
And he was so confident that they were in first place.
Yeah.
I was ready for it. But the first two teams, Joyce and Uchenna and Meredith and Gretchen, they found their gnomes and they got to head to the Galata Kalesi Tower where they got their clue for the detour, which was columns or kilos. Do you want to explain what columns or kilos is, Bruce?
Yes. So, with columns, you're in this ancient well that's held up by these columns that have numbers on them. And you have a grid in your hand, and you have to find 4 specific columns and use the numbers on them to unlock your next clue. And with kilos, you're given a scale, and you have to take the weight of a bunch of people on the street. Uh-oh. 1 second. Internet crap.
What just happened?
I used up my mobile hotspot and it slowed it down.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here now. Are you here?
What happened?
I just said.
Yeah, I've been here the whole time.
We're on a delay because church Wi-Fi.
I thought you were on your hotspot.
Yeah, I used up my hotspot. That's why the thing dropped. I hit the 5 gigs that I get for
You
this.
need
I don't need mobile hotspot if I have
you need a
Wi-Fi.
long like an unlimited hotspot.
I have unlimited data. I don't need
But you don't
unlimited
have
hotspot.
Wi-Fi right now.
Yeah, well, that'll change tomorrow. Anyway, columns are you're in this ancient well that's held up by these columns, and you have a paper grid in your hand that you're using to find 4 specific columns with numbers on them, and you use those 4 numbers to unlock your next clue. And with kilos, you are given a scale, and you have to weigh people on the street and write down their weight till you come to a total of 2,500 kilograms.
Yes. Which equals 5,500 pounds.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Bruce, which one of these would you prefer to do?
What I wrote down when we first saw them was that the columns one looked cooler, and I just wanted to see like this area where they are in this ancient well. But pretty much all 3 out of 4 teams picked the scales, and that seemed to go quicker than the one that picked the columns. So I guess I was wrong.
I disagree. I think Ron and Kelly went faster than anybody else.
Well, that one looks cooler anyway. Just the place where they are looks awesome.
And I don't even care about that. I would prefer to traverse through the columns and do that versus asking people to weigh in on a scale.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, I'm pretty good with the map anyway. I think that we could do well. And I like I said, I think Ron and Kelly went faster than everybody else.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're right, actually, now that I think about it. So
Yeah.
we shall see.
But like Bruce said, Ron and Kelly were the only ones to do column. And Joyce and Uchenna, Meredith and Gretchen, and Rob and Amber all did kilos. They didn't really have any problems with kilos. I would just prefer to do columns. Uh, but some other things that happened around this time, Meredith and Gretchen, they went all the way to the top of the Galata Kalesi, like we were talking about. Ron and Kelly would do the same thing later on, while the clue was at the very bottom. Both of them spied the clue box at the bottom from the top, but it took Meredith and Gretchen 2 times of going to the top before they realized that, where Ron and Kelly, it only took them once. But at this point, we have Joyce and Uchenna who are already done with the weighing in, which is crazy because Ron and Kelly and Rob and Amber haven't even got to the gnomes at this point, and so Joyce and Uchenna get the next clue to proceed 10 miles to Rumeli Histari, which is a fortress. And that's where we find out what the roadblock is climbing your forte. Storm the fortress. Bruce, do you want to explain Storm the Fortress?
Yeah, you climb up a ladder and then you go over the wall and you find a key and you bring it and you unlock a treasure chest and then you open the front door and the other person comes in.
You missed a big part.
Okay.
After you find the key, you have to rappel back down the same way you came.
Oh, true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say that I should do this one, but I don't know what you were thinking.
No, you're right.
Um, But we see here that Uchenna, Gretchen, Rob, and Ron are the people to do this. But like I said, the crazy thing is Uchenna and Joyce are here, but Rob and Amber and Ron and Kelly are just about to the gnome thing, and Meredith and Gretchen are just at the weight scales. Like the difference in the lead is crazy at this point because Meredith and Gretchen are still back at the weight scales, and Meredith is pointing out, "Hey, it's the guy with the scales here," and Gretchen told him he was wrong. No, we're looking for bigger scales. That was not the case at all. So once again, Gretchen was wrong.
Yeah.
And Bruce probably enjoyed that because his philosophy on Gretchen has changed.
I don't hate her. I'm just kind of overthinking she's adorable and fun. She's just kind of annoying now. She's not Patrick.
That's valid. Or Kelly. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. But anyway, Uchenna gets through this one like clockwork, and we find out that the place they are, that fortress, Yermeli Hisari, is actually the pit stop for this leg of the race. Once you rappel back down and unlock the clue, then they open the doors to the fortress, and your partner gets to come in, and then they just have to find this overlook over the water there at the fortress within its interior to find Phil for the pit stop of the next leg in the race. Joyce and Uchenna are team number 1. We flip the gnome, and they do not win reward, which I think this is crazy because 2 weeks in a row, Joyce and Uchenna are in first place, and 2 weeks in a row, they did not get a reward for getting first place. This is bogus.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Especially because on this leg, especially in the words of the youngins, they ate in this leg.
They did. They slayed.
Joyce and Uchenna, they ate.
They slayed also.
They slayed all freaking day.
Mm-hmm.
A funny moment happened when Meredith and Gretchen were back here doing the scales because they still are doing the scales as Joyce and Uchenna are uh, getting to the pit stop. One of the guys was like over 100 kilograms, and Gretchen literally patted him on the stomach like he was a dog when he got that many uh, kilograms for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we see, we go back to Ron and Kelly as they mess up and they argue more. And then they get in the car and kiss and make up already, like 2 seconds later.
Yeah, what was that?
That was crazy.
That was insane.
I don't know. It was right away. I didn't understand. It was nuts. But we go back to Meredith and Gretchen here, and Gretchen is trying to climb up this wobbly rope ladder, and it really reminded me of an episode of The Summit I watched recently. Have you been watching The Summit at all?
I have not. I've barely been watching any.
Well, it's the placeholder of Amazing Race this season.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's the back half of Survivor night on Wednesdays, and they're on a 14-day trek to reach the summit of this mountain. And just like 3 episodes ago, they had to climb up a rope ladder that was really wobbly like this, and uh, it was it was pretty intense. And that's what this reminded me of, because there was this lady named Amy who was having a time just like Gretchen was here, but Gretchen made it. Um,
Yeah. When
even though
Meredith
she's
and Gretchen
even though
got
she's
to the
struggling.
when Meredith and Gretchen got to the wall climbing, my note I wrote
Got
down.
to the what?
When Meredith and Gretchen got to the wall climbing, my note was, this is a terrible idea for either of them to do it.
So what'd you want them to do?
I don't know. One of them had to do it. I just didn't think either one of them would be good at it.
Oh, and they wouldn't have, and Gretchen was not good at it, but she got the job done. That's all you can
Yeah.
ask for. And they still finished in second place here. Phil flips over their gnome, and once again, no reward. So we are down to Rob and Amber or Ron and Kelly. One will be third, one will be fourth, and one of them is going to win a Travelocity reward here. And Rob, he flew through through this wall thing. Ron, him and Kelly had made up some time with choosing columns, and so they weren't that far behind Rob and Amber. But Ron was up at the top looking for his key as he saw Rob and Amber heading to the pit stop. And so Rob and Amber here are team number 3. We flipped the gnome. No reward.
No reward.
No reward. But I don't know if you noticed this. I thought it was really funny. In a confessional that Rob and Amber did after they found out they were team number 3, they switched hats. Amber was wearing Rob's red hat backwards like this, and Rob was wearing Amber's beanie. And I thought it was just like kind of adorable and funny.
It was. It was fantastic, honestly.
Did you even notice it?
Yeah.
Did you even notice it?
I noticed it. I didn't write anything down, but I'm like, oh, that's different.
Okay. I just didn't even think you were going to notice it.
I had forgot about it until you mentioned it, but I remember seeing
But
it.
Ron and Kelly. Yeah. Ron and Kelly, they come in, team number 4. Phil says, unfortunately, you are the last team to arrive, but fortunately for you, this is another non-elimination leg, and I feel so vindicated.
Yeah.
Non-elimination leg here, in all caps, told you.
I believed you.
I know that you weren't disagreeing with me, but I just felt vindicated. Yeah, I know. You even mentioned it on Tribal Council chat. And just like the last time there was a non-elimination leg, Phil says, and unfortunately I have to take away your money and your possessions. You will be left with only the clothes on your back and your passports. You're going to start the next leg getting $0, and so it's going to be an uphill battle for you here. But that my response to that is we must be staying in Turkey for the next leg, because anytime when they take the money away, there's no shot that we're taking an airplane. So the next leg must be staying in Turkey. That's what I interpret from this.
Or it's like you're taking a train to.
But we do find out. Right.
Because in that case, the tickets could be pre-purchased by CBS or the show.
They could have, but that's just, I mean, it happens a little bit, but not that much, I feel like.
We're probably staying.
Yeah. But that's when we flip over Ron and Kelly's gnome and we see what we already knew, that they had the airplane on the bottom, that they win $20,000 to spend with Travelocity after the race is over, which is kind of ironic because I'm 99.99999% sure that they will not still be a couple and want to take a trip together on Travelocity once this race is over. But on a lighter note, they get to spend the next 12 hours while everybody else is resting at the pit stop area in a 4-star hotel suite there in Istanbul at the Four Seasons.
Yes, this is a really cool reward. It's probably going to be like the most awkward hotel night ever in a Four Seasons room, but
Absolutely, you piece of trash redneck that became a POW to get out of the army. Do you have any thoughts on the episode? Is that concludes the recap portion?
yeah, it was a fun, mostly fun episode this week. The whole like toxic relationship soap opera drama wasn't fun, but overall it was a fun episode. Love the gnomes.
Absolutely. I love Travelocity gnomes. I want one for my yard.
Yeah.
With that being said, Bruce, let's jump into the power rankings. Who do you got going in fourth here?
Mm, I feel weird doing this, but I'm gonna do Ron and Kelly. The combination of the NEL punishment and the fact that I think they hate each other at this point does not bode well.
I would agree with that because I also put Ron and Kelly here, which is weird to me because I don't know the last time I didn't put Meredith and Gretchen at the bottom of my power ranking. But the fact that how like wild these NEL punishments are, and the fact that I just have a great disdain for Kelly now. Um, I really hope I'm gonna have to do some research into this. I really hope that she made some kind of public apology for this because that was bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also have Ron and Kelly here. What do you have for third here?
The old people, Meredith and Gretchen. I don't have a ton of faith in them, but I have more faith in them than I do in Ron and Kelly at this point.
That's fair. I also have Meredith and Gretchen here. And I I don't think there's that much to put into an explanation about why I they struggle, and there's they're just not at the same level as either Robin Amber or Joyce and Uchenna here.
They're not. And so my number two here is oh,
I was gonna say, who's your number two?
my number two is going to be Rob and Amber. I think they've been the most consistently strong team throughout the race, but Joyce and Uchenna have really come on these past couple episodes, and they have a ton of momentum right now.
Yeah, I think that was a good take here. I had Robin Amber at two. They had a rough week. Joyce and Uchenna back to back number ones. This is where you want to be peaking as we hit this end game part. And this week, Uchenna specifically looked on another level over anybody else, even Rob. So um, I'm very much happy to put Robin Ember here at two.
Yeah.
which leave, which leaves
Which leaves Joyce and Uchenna at 1 for both of us because we have the same rankings this week.
or same rankings. That barely ever happens.
Happened last week too, I think.
I don't think so. I think we had a difference or two.
We've done this at least once before.
Yes, but not like you and Brett who have the same player of the week like every week.
That's been weird this season. That didn't happen the first 2 seasons we've done the show with
I
40
know.
and
I
46.
know. I noticed that.
I don't know why that is, but oh well.
I don't know the last time you guys had a different player of the weeks.
I don't know.
Which, yeah. Anyway, Joyce and Uchenna, they are on a hot streak. I'm with it. I'm with them. We're going into week or episode number 10 of 11 here. This will not, I mean, the rest of this race is just going to play out like a normal race would, I believe. As we have 2 more episodes here with next week's episode, the one we're going to watch next week, being, let's see, The Devil Made Me Do It. Oh, evidently they are traveling way out of Istanbul, Turkey. So I don't know what Ron and Kelly are going to do. This is going to be interesting.
They're gonna walk.
All the way to London.
Yes. Or prearranged tickets.
Or prearranged tickets. I guess that's going to be the way. I don't think they do that anymore. But I guess that's what they are going to have to do here. This was a great episode. It was a lot of fun minus Kelly's comments. I feel vindicated with the whole NEL, and we're looking to be set up for a pretty fun final down the stretch here.
For sure. I agree.
Yeah, Bruce, do you have some stuff to plug before we head out of here?
Yeah, check out Tribal Council chat. We're coming down the home stretch of Survivor 47. Kevin will be guest hosting for Brett in the next episode that comes out, so that'll be fun. He hasn't done an episode recap in a while. Going
That's
all the way
true.
back to before we upgraded our Zoom, which feels like forever ago.
Yes. Season 45, episode 5. Brandon Meyer leaves the game was the last recap of Survivor I did.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. They're doing stuff over at New Generation Challengers. Check it all out. Check out the merch store.
Yeah, buy our merch. I have this really wicked design on there with me and Bruce on our faces are on it.
Yes. So that'll be a ton of fun.
Please check it out. With all of that being said, it's been a great week.
Go.
And without further ado, the world is waiting for you. Good luck.
Travel safe.
Go!